Hello, and welcome to another scrapbooking process video. I'm Tracy, also known as MercyTiara, and I make scrapbooking process videos and more here on my channel. Today, I am working with the Bloom kit and add-ons from MercyTiara Kits, and I'm starting by looking through all of the beautiful pattern papers that come in this kit, and I'm looking for some papers that might be a good background. I'm going to be scrapbooking 3 separate stories today on 3 separate layouts, and you will see each of these published as a separate process video. So this first one is called Happy Memories, and then there will be 2 more that come along very shortly afterwards. So at this point, I haven't even decided which photos I'll start with, but now I'm deciding I'll start with these 2 food photos from our recent Burger Week celebrations. Our city does a Burger Week every year as a way to promote different businesses, local businesses, when the market is a little bit slower, and also to donate to a local charity called Feed Nova Scotia. I'll be scrapbooking 2 square photos. They are printed at 2.5 by 2.5. I do print all of my photos at home on my Epson PictureMate PM400. And I have picked out these papers here, and I chose that gingham one because it really looks a little bit like a tablecloth. And so I think I'm going to use that one as my background. I've actually settled on that one as my background fairly early on. I think it'll make a nice food-related background paper. I also really love that floral, and so I am going to use that as well. I'm thinking about matting my photos on this paper. It's from Echo Park, from the Telling Her Story collection. And at first I'm thinking this paper is going to make a really good matting paper for these photos because it is a complementary color. I definitely didn't want anything pinky or orangey or yellowy because there are too many of those shades already in the photos. Now, because these photos are so much of the same color schemes, I wanted to make sure that they had a little bit more emphasis on my page. So I'm going to matte them in black. They're already trimmed down with a bit of a white border around them. So this ends up looking very much like a double matting, but it's only a single matting. And then I was going to matte them again on this turquoise colored paper. And then I decided instead of matting them, I would just, well, it's sort of like matting them, but I'm matting them together and leaving some space over to the left-hand side. In the meantime, I will trim down my tablecloth paper, and this becomes my background. And this floral, I was starting to think that I might tear or cut myself a chunk of it for the back. And then I figured with all of the squares going on this layout between the square photos, the overall shape of the layout as a square, and also all of the little squares in the checkered pattern, I decided I'd add a round element here. And so this floral, I'm going to cut with my curvy cutter, which is an EK Success tool. You see it's moving around quite a bit as I cut it. That is not supposed to happen, but the reason it's doing that is that I was cutting it with it off of the edge of my glass cutting mat. And so the little grippy feet on it weren't gripping as much because they were hanging off in the air. And so, I didn't really care that the circle wasn't cut all that perfectly. But if you care about that sort of thing, just make sure you use your tools the proper way instead of winging it like I did. Now, I found that this circle was not having enough impact on my background, so I'm going to also matte it in black. And I don't have a big enough piece of black cardstock. This is just from my scraps from my stash. And I didn't want to cut into a fresh piece of black cardstock because I'm running quite low on black. So as you can see, I partially matted it. And then I'm just going to piece together the black so that it extends. As you can see what I did there, I just butted up against itself so that I have what is hopefully a mostly seamless I guess, seam. I guess seamless seam? Is that a thing? I don't know. So anyhow, an invisible seam. Maybe that's what I want. Yes, an invisible seam. So I'm going to outline it further. I did hand cut the outside edge, as you saw when I matted it in the black, and so it's not perfectly cut, but neither is the inside because of my curvy cutter moving on me. So it's all good. It all looks a little bit doodly and free and relaxed, which is a good vibe. I did end up gluing that blue piece of paper onto the circle so that is now one entire element. And I grabbed this Happy Memories chipboard piece from Echo Park. These are the chipboard accents from the Telling Her Story collection. Everything I'm using on this page came from the kit, except for the black cardstock. And so I'm going to use that as my title. I really love using pre-made titles. It makes everything so easy. So I'm going to wrap this title just to give it a little bit of a personalized look. I'm going to wrap it in this green baker's twine that came in the kit as well. And I think that this just adds a little bit of interest. It brings in some of the green, which means that I'm now going to have to be careful that I also add some more green. Now, don't get me wrong, you don't always have to repeat everything. I believe that design rules or design principles are made to be broken, but I am going to bring some green into some other places on this layout. I'm going through the journaling die cuts that came with the main kit, and these are going to give me a space to do my journaling. I'm going to layer 2 journaling pieces together, and then I'm also going to layer this film piece, this film die cut. I took all the little scenes or images out from the little holes, and then I had to use my poking tool to get these little tiny pieces out. They were a little stubborn, but I really love this die cut, and so I think it was worth the little bit of extra work that it took to get these little pieces out of the way, because I think it looks really great there, tucked behind my other 2 journaling pieces. All of these are sitting upon that turquoise patterned paper that the photos are on, and that just gives the whole layout really a nice base. So between that long horizontal piece that holds the photos and the big circle in the background, these 2 elements together will provide an anchor for everything else on my page, almost everything else on my page. As you see, I am floating a little green fishtail banner at the bottom, and that is my reminder to my own self that I want the third corner of my visual triangle to be down at the bottom of the page. I'm going to do some tearing and have some patterned paper showing out there. But for now, my 2 corners my 2 other corners of that triangle will be over by the journaling piece and then over by the Y in Happy Memories. I'm going ahead and gluing these journaling pieces, these layered journaling pieces, to one another and then to my horizontal piece that's anchoring the whole thing. I am going to glue the Happy Memories title to the other journaling piece that's serving as a bit of an anchor for the Happy Memories. I also wanted to just put some separation between Happy Memories and that patterned paper on the circle die, or not die cut, but the cut circle, because they were competing just a little bit too much, and that really pale green journaling card with the holes in it provides a little bit of separation between those 2 things. I do want a few elements down here at the bottom, so I pulled out a yellow tag. I'd like to pull some yellow into this page because there's so much yellow tone in the photos that I want to pull some of that out into the main page as well. So I've got the yellow hearts that run vertically along the journaling piece, and then I have another yellow banner down by the green one. I'm going to play around with a few different things that I could put down in the very bottom corner here, or in the bottom, I guess it's the bottom center of the page, but it is my bottom corner of my visual triangle that I'm building here. I'm now looking through some more of those die cut pieces, and ooh, I love this green, and it picks up on the green from the twine. So I'm gonna have that so it's poking out, And as you can see, there's something written on it that you can't really read because of the way that it's poking out. So I am going to layer something on top of that. I just don't know what yet, but that's going to be my pop of green over there. And then I really love this cute little tag. It's so adorable. I love the keyhole shape in the top of it instead of just a standard circle. Love little details like that. These die cuts are really cool for that. And so I'm putting that up by the Y in that other corner of my triangle. And I'm also pulling out some of these little banners, some of which I might use and some of which I might not use, but these are just basically I'm pulling out more things than I think I'm going to need so that I can have some options when it comes time to actually pull this page together. Ooh, I love that sun popping out, so I'll put that there. Seems to work really well there. There were mushrooms in the burger, so I will put a little mushroom somewhere on this. And I love rainbows, so let's keep that out just in case I want to use that. Here's another little, is that a sun or a flower? I think it's a flower actually, and I might use that. I have a little frame here. It's an oval frame. I'm going to cut it in two and use it as an anchoring piece for some future embellishments that might live in those two places. So I just tucked it there for now. So those are the two corners I'm working on, those two places that I was just pointing at, the two corners of my visual triangle. And so that's it for those die cuts. Now I do have a third set of die cuts that came in the embellishment add-on. And so I'm going to look through those. These are from the Here Comes Spring collection from Echo Park. No, from Cartabella. And this has lots of, well, they're called frames and tags. So there's lots of frames and lots of tags in here. And I'm just pulling out some cute ones that I think might work with this page. It's a different art style than some of the other things on this page, but I really love mixing and matching different styles like this. So I'll tuck that there, but there's no point in wasting that bottom. And then I might as well make it look like it's a long tag that pops out at the bottom too. So I'll just stick the bottom out of the underside of those journaling pieces. Now this sun works really well there, so I'm just going to leave it there. When I first place things, I don't always know if they will stay where I put them, but in this case, that one will stay. And I'm basically gluing everything to everything else and not to my background paper. That will allow me to do some embellishing at the end on my background paper without having to worry about covering up my main elements, like my layers and my photos and stuff. So I will glue these frames, these two frame pieces, and I just kept getting the angle wrong. So there we go. I'll get it eventually. I just put glue on the front side of those frames so that I could glue them to the layers above them. So let's do that with this tag as well and layer that to the layers above it. And then we'll do the same with this piece right here. Ooh, I love that. Love using frames in that way, kind of as anchors behind your layers to draw attention to other things. These mushrooms are some of my favorite mushroom embellishments ever. I really love mushrooms and I don't love eating them. I don't mind them, but they're not my favorite thing. But I really love them as a scrapbooking and decor item. I finally glued that title down. It was glued down before, but it wasn't quite strong enough, so I had to put some more adhesive there. Now I'm addressing my journaling corner now, this journaling piece, and I am looking for something that I can put on that little green scalloped circle that's poking out right behind my journaling. And I want it to be something that has a little bit more impact than these mushrooms, as much as I love them. And I also didn't think that the peach worked quite right there either. And so I've got a sun here or a flower. Ah, that ladybug is going to do it. So as soon as I found the ladybug, I knew that that would work. I do want to tie some twine around this green piece. And at first, I tried just tying a little knot, and I thought I'll just tuck it under my layers, but that knot was taking up so much space that nothing was really lying flat. So I cut it, and then I ended up accidentally tying a little knot in that length of string. So I'm starting over again with a new length of string, and I'm using washi tape this time just to make it nice and flat and not have to have a knot at all. And then I will have this little ladybug, which I'm actually going to trim him down a little bit. He had too much white around the outside edge of him, and I did want a white border so that he kind of pops out from the green embellishment, but he didn't need that much. So I just trimmed it down a little bit. It only took a second, and I think it makes a really big difference in how this embellishment looks on my page. So now that little scalloped green circle is in place with the green twine on it, and it looks just so cute with the little ladybug looking like he's crawling out from between the layers of paper. I'm going to add another little mushroom to the red one. So those two are layered together like that. And I am outlining those just to give them a little bit more presence on the page. I'm also going to outline these hearts down the vertical die cut of hearts there. I have a few more pieces here that I haven't used yet, so I'll just put those up there, put away some of the other ones, and I'm almost ready for my journaling, but I'm thinking I want to tear the paper at the bottom of my tablecloth here and have a little bit of patterned paper showing through. Now, I guess the safe and easy paper to choose would be the one that is on the circle, but it just seemed a little bit too matchy-matchy to me if I did it that way. That blue floral paper would also look really, really great, but I felt like this paper here with the bunnies on it was a really good contrast. It kind of mimics it's the same density of a floral as the one that the circle is on, and similar color scheme, but it's almost reversed in that instead of being on a white background, it's on a darker background. It's like a tealy dark green or dark blue, dark bluey greeny. I don't know. I'm going to outline the outside edges of this page. I'm going to double outline it so it looks nice and casual and has a little bit of a doodly feel to it. And there we go. And then this will go right there, and I'll put a little tear right here. And I wasn't sure exactly how far I needed to tear it in order. I didn't want to see any bunnies, so I just wanted to catch the floral part. So I'm playing around here with how much I can tear. So I basically cut that paper from bunny to bunny to bunny so that I had as big a chunk of floral without bunny on it as I possibly could. And now I'm just going to tear the edges of this torn piece up a little bit. I'm actually going to tear off the edging so that I don't have so much bulk there, but it's basically going to look like it's torn and peeled back. I'm spending a bit of time just relaxing the fibers of the paper. This background paper is a Cartabella paper, and so it's that thicker, more textured. It's really basically a printed cardstock is what it is. Love, love, love Cartabella for that reason. But I did have to work that paper a little bit more in order to get some nice curvy, rounded, curled edges instead of harshly folded edges. I glued that little patch of patterned paper on the back, but before I did so, I just stapled 2 little staples on either side to make it look like those edges are being held down by staples. Now, I am adhering my main cluster to my background paper accidentally. I didn't actually mean to do this, and you'll see me pull it off in a minute. But first, I'm going to pull out this set of chipboard. One of my patrons who was watching me live stream this layout suggested that this little blue camera would look really cute in the corner of my journaling. So thank you, Tara. I really like how that looks. So that was a really good idea. I'm going to add that there. And I didn't want to forget about it. So I just pulled it out right now so that I can do that. And I'm just going to put little marks on my background paper to show me where the layers lie, so that when I go to sprinkle some black splatter, I will be able to direct it in the right places. Now I have a giant tri-art palette here. It's just an acrylic piece of plastic that I keep for my splattering. And I also did some masking with another piece of cardboard to protect my computer screen as I do this. Now, this is Heidi Swapp Color Shine in the color Black Soot, I believe it's called. And because it's splattering on Cardabella textured cardstock paper, it is not going to give me really crisp circular splatters. It's going to spread out a little bit and look very splattery instead of perfect circles. So just know that when you're sprinkling on a cardstock like this, that it's not going to land completely circular. I did have to go back and add a few more pieces of sprinkles there. And then even after I did my second try, there still wasn't enough over on the right-hand side there. So I just added a few by hand there. Now, these palettes are really great for doing mixed media on because they wipe up super easily with just a quick little baby wipe swipe, and we're all cleaned up. I'm going to put that, I still haven't glued down that camera chipboard piece yet. So, and Rita gave us a really great tip there, which is that you can dry your Heidi Swapp sprinkles or whatever kind of mist you've used on your layout by placing it close to a dehumidifier that's running. And I thought that was a really great tip. So thank you, Rita, for that. Now I am taking the MTK exclusive confetti mix that came in the Bloom kit, and I am just putting 3 little bits of confetti in 3 different places for now. I will add some down here on the bottom corner, but not quite yet because I haven't yet added the little embellishments that I plan to put down there. So once I place them, then it's just a matter of gluing them in place, and I'm just using my pickup stick. That's a We Are Memory Keepers tool, which I adore. It's a game changer. I resisted getting one of these for a long time, and once I got one, I wondered why I hadn't had one all along. So if you don't have one yet, definitely pick one up. We do sell them in our shop, but they're also really easy to get anywhere else. So if you're getting a kit from us, you can just add one to your cart pretty easily. We also need to add a date, and this journaling card has a place for a date. It says documented, and then it has the little dashes where you can put a date. So the date was April 12th, 2024 when these photos were taken. So I'm adding that. Then I thought a little mushroom or something over here might work, and I'm going to layer these 2 so that the yellow one is overlapping and you can see just a little bit of the green one underneath. Again, my goal here was to bring some green into this 3rd cluster because there's green in the other 2 clusters that I very intentionally placed. So let's make sure we get some green down here as well. And then this little adorable mushroom, I'm just going to treat it the same way I did the other 2 that are already on this layout by just outlining it. And I'm going to have it so that it overlaps some of that rolled paper. So I am going to have to use some foam adhesive. The kind I'm using right here is Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, but any kind of foam adhesive would work here. And I'm just using regular adhesive on the place where the mushroom will be against the rolled paper, and then little bits of foam adhesive on the places that it would overhang. Now I am going to add 2 more little pieces of confetti here just to continue the confetti into my 3rd little cluster. This would be like a secondary cluster here. And this confetti mix includes a couple of really cute details. One of the little ones, the pink ones, have a crimped texture to them. And then there's also these tiny, tiny little blue flowers in there. They're actually iridescent, but they end up looking and reflecting as if they were blue. My journaling here says Burger Week gave us a chance to try out a few new pubs and breweries that we may want to use for Movie Club. North Brewing in Timberley had a delicious bourbon burger, but no cell signal, so not great for Movie Club, but great for burgers. I wanted to just glue down this camera embellishment before I went too much further so that I didn't journal right where it was supposed to go. I wanted to make sure that I saved some space for it. So we'll just finish up the journaling here now. I do like to underline my journaling, so we'll do that too. I just find that it makes my journaling feel like it belongs on the page, but you don't have to do that. I just like the look. And we'll just clean up some pieces and then this page is done. So you'll get to see some video close-ups and then some photos as well. But before I share the photos, just a quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. They'll be up on your screen after this part. And these folks help make this channel happen. So big thanks to all of them. Patrons get early ad-free access to all of my process videos and real-time unedited versions of my videos, as well as pretty much weekly live streams at this point. Technically, we do a monthly live stream, but these days we've been live streaming weekly, and that's been really fun. And they also get behind the scenes videos of my room and my process and a few other little perks. So thanks to you also for watching all the way to the end. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I would love to hear from you. What do you think about using a bold circle like this as an anchoring element on your page to kind of pull everything together? Do you ever use a circle in this way? Let me know below, and certainly tag me on social media if you make any pages like this using a circle as a strong background element that anchors the rest of your page. I'd love to see it, and I'd love to hear from you. So here are some of the places where you can find me. We have our Kit Club website at the very top, and my Patreon is there, as well as our Facebook group and everything else that you need to reach me. So thanks so much for watching. Have a really great scrappy week.